I don't even know how this footage didn't cause the White House to come out and say, yep, they exist, everyone. Aliens are real. Because it wasn't just one story that was accounted for on the night of this UFO sighting. It was thousands. It was an entire state. All of them saw this at the same time. It was the night of March 13th, 1997. Some people are outside on the back patio of their house with their families, just relaxing. It seems normal, nothing strange happening yet, until someone decides to look up. At first, it's just some random lights. Some people tell themselves it's an airplane malfunctioning. That's what everyone tells themselves, right? Oh, it's flares. Most people don't believe in this kind of stuff and don't want it to be anything else. But then you notice how the lights move. They're in a large formation in an unusual way of moving silently throughout the dark sky. No blinking of the lights like a commercial airplane would, and they're all connected, and they just keep going. Witnesses all over Arizona described this massive V-shaped formation of these lights that were so big in the sky that they blocked out the stars behind it. Whatever this unidentified flying object was, it was so massive that it was covering a part of the sky above, and it wasn't distant. It was right there above the locals of Arizona. They just all kept watching it, moving slowly, like as if it wasn't scared or nervous about being seen by humans. They were just all watching it in awe, and it just kept creeping throughout the sky, slowly, as if it wasn't afraid of being seen by the humans on the Earth's surface. Everyone was confused. Was it a phenomenon of the sky, or was it a flying object that was so big that they couldn't describe what they were seeing?
Look at that. And they all went on in a sequence, too. Now, the thing that puzzles me is they can't be ordinary streetlights. They're going off now, right?
Yeah,
one drop. The thing that's amazing is that it must be so bright that they would carry, because we're looking at about 25 miles away. The middle one now.
There one. Oh,
the two,
another one.
There's another one.
Yep, there was one.
We have the last one left.
Even Kurt Russell, before anyone knew that it was him, reported it, saying that he saw it for his own eyes as well, but he couldn't identify it either.
From the aeroplane to air traffic control to say, I'm seeing these lights here. I wasn't expecting any other planes. They're none supposed to be on my landing path. Can you tell me what's going on? They said there are no other planes. He said, I'm seeing 6 bright lights coming towards me. Mystery unresolved.
Except number for that plane was Bonanza 2 Tango Sierra, and I was the pilot. No way. I saw 6 lights over the airport in absolute uniform in a V shape. I'm going to declare it's unidentified, it's flying, and it's 6 objects.
Later, after that night, the governor even came out on a news broadcast and he started to make jokes about it, making fun of the whole situation. He even brought out someone in an alien, a green costume, and that was it. That was the end of the story, except for a few years later when he came out once again and said,
and I suspect that unless the Defense Department proves us otherwise, that it was probably some form of an alien spacecraft. I mean, it was enormous. It just felt otherworldly.
In 2004, U.S. Navy radar systems started to pick up something unauthorized moving incredibly fast throughout the coast of California. The object was known to drop from extremely high altitude, from thousands of feet up in the sky down to about sea level, all in a matter of just a couple of seconds. It wasn't just fast, it was instantaneous. They sent pilots and jets out there to encounter it and observe whatever this thing was. And one of those pilots was Commander David Fravor. He was experienced and he wasn't really one to panic for anything, really, but when he got there, he saw it. He described it as a white object, very, very smooth, shiny, and it resembled the size of maybe a small plane, but it didn't have any wings and it didn't let off any exhaust or propulsion like a plane would. It was just there, hovering above the water, almost like it was waiting for them. And this is where everything started to fall apart in this encounter. The thing started making maneuvers, but not just any kind of maneuvers. When Commander Fravor would maneuver his jet throughout the air, it started mimicking every single one of his, like it was mirroring him. It wasn't really flying away, but it wasn't really seemingly getting ready to attack them either. It was just responding to them. It was almost like it knew it was being watched by the commander and the other pilots, and it was watching them back. Then it just vanished out of thin air. No warning, no sounds, no change in the wind patterns, just gone. Then the pilots were told by the radar operator that the object was now appearing 60 miles away in the exact spot that they had prearranged their meeting point after the encounter. This means that whatever that object was, it knew exactly where the pilots were planning to go after they encountered it, and it got there before they did. If it was one of ours, then someone has technology that they're not telling us about. And if it wasn't one of ours, then that just adds to the terrifying possibility that we're really not alone on this earth or the universe. In the mid-1990s, a couple named Terry and Gwen Sherman bought a ranch out in the barren, remote Utah. It was beautiful. It was quiet, it was quaint. It was the exact kind of place that you would go to get away from the world. But almost immediately, they were going to find out very quickly that that peace and quiet would not last long at all, and in fact, everything was about to go terribly wrong. Their animals started acting really strange. The cattle was found dead multiple days in a row, mutilated with surgical precision. They had no blood left in their bodies after they were found. There were no footprints, no tracks of any kind, and no signs that the cattle were ever even in a struggle with anything. Then it started to make sense for Terry and Gwen. They started to see the creatures. There were these gigantic, tall, wolf-like animals, but they weren't wolves, and they really didn't act like any earthbound animals either. It was actually reported that one of those creatures eventually stood its ground, going toe-to-toe with Gwen and Terry as they were shooting at it, didn't react, didn't make any sounds, it didn't screech from the pain of being shot at. Even as it was getting bullet wounds, it didn't even drip any blood. It just eventually walked away after being shot at multiple times, and after that, Gwen and Terry, they were going to war all along the property. After that day, a few nights later, they started to see lights appear above the ranch, and these lights were moving so fast that it was hard to catch each one visually. They were going in zigzags and just stopping in place. It was like a light show going on for them. It just kept getting so much worse for them too. Inside the house, even, they started to hear otherworldly whisperings, languages they couldn't decipher and they didn't know where they were coming from. Shadows would appear in rooms and go throughout the hallways. Even inanimate objects were moving by themselves. Their dogs would bark at random times and end up disappearing without any explanation. Eventually, they ended up selling the entire property off to a billionaire named Robert Bigelow, who ended up funding the entire place on scientific research, trying to get to the bottom of what these occurrences were coming from. He ended up getting tech teams to install surveillance cameras, motion sensors, teams of investigators to analyze things all along the land. And this is the part that makes it now a tourist attraction of a property. That technology that they added onto the land to try and capture something, well, it does work, but never at the right times. In fact, any time that there is an occurrence that people can account for with their own eyes, the technology, all of those cameras and the sensors, they just happen to go out. They stop working at all of the most important times that they could have captured something. It's the same property today. They still get all of the same occurrences. Those creatures, the lights, it all still happens, but it's never actually been caught. The people that work there as staff today for tourism attractions, they say that they don't feel like they're being hunted by the creatures or the bizarre occurrences of lights or anything like that. Instead, they feel like they're being watched. They're being observed by these creatures.